Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the opening of Open Day and Careers Expo. So those of you who are staff, students, friends here tonight, we gather at the opening of Open Day 2023 at the Wyoming University. We begin in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Great.
A reading from the Acts of the Apostles. Philip went down to the city of Samaria and proclaimed the Christ to them. With one accord, the crowds paid attention to what was said by Philip.
Beloved, sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts. Always be ready to give an explanation to anyone who asks you for a reason for your hope.
So we've just had these wonderful readings from Scripture this evening. It's also Mother's Day, well, sort of, tomorrow or now, let's say now. And it's also the beginning of Open Day and Careers Expo. Three wonderful events, and I'll try to bring all three together somehow. In the reading we heard, in the Gospel reading that I've just read, it's part of the farewell discourse of Jesus at the Last Supper. He realized that something awful was going to happen. He didn't know quite what it was, but he realized it was a moment where he had to give a parting advice to his disciples, and that's what he did. And we hear a little piece of that this evening from John chapter 14. And he says that the world will not see me, but I will not leave you orphans. He's trying to have them realize that they're going to relate to him at a different level, at a new sort of relationship. He had been with them, walking beside them. They had been walking beside him. But now it's not going to be like that, because he says, I will be living within you. You will know me because I will be within you, not beside you. And he says, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Jesus' commandment, as we probably all know, is the commandment of love. And that's the word that's coming through in what he's saying in the gospel this evening. He's talking about love, and he keeps on talking about it. And we hear from John how God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, Jesus. In another place in John, we hear, God is love. It's a very profound statement. I think it's very appropriate that we have this reading and we think about this on Mother's Day, because God loved us into life. God loved us into life through our mother. God loved us into life through our mother. And that's something wonderful and something for us to thank God for today. And that special love is reflected in the gospel, as we heard it this evening, where Jesus is saying, I will be you and me and I and you. That sort of intimacy, you and me and I and you, coming together. Something very special to be thankful for, particularly on Mother's Day. And now here we are this evening, starting off Open Day and Careers Expo at this Vigil Mass. So what's the scripture that we heard tonight got to say to us about that? I find that in all the readings, it's referring to the Spirit. Philip in the Acts, in the first reading, talking about the Spirit coming on the apostles, the people. Peter in the second reading, and then the Gospel referring to the Spirit of truth. So that's appearing in all of the readings tonight. And my hope is that this open day will not just be a day for sharing of information, but it will be able to achieve a level of communication about the Spirit in Divine Word University and about the Spirit of Divine Word University. That people will come away from Open Day with a renewed sense of that Spirit of Divine Word University. Let's celebrate today and tomorrow that way so that can happen. After all, it is the university named after the Divine Word, isn't it?